There are some specific claims made by the New York Times that I want to address and debunk here. So the basic claim from the New York Times is that America is all racist, built on slavery. Everything is racist, and everything good that we have in this country, they claim, everything that has made America exceptional grew out of slavery. Is that true or false?
I think that's very obviously false, and I think it's a wild claim that they make. And of course, it completely diminishes the ideas, the great ideas that made America what it is. I mean, obviously, slavery is something that existed at the time of the founding, but it wasn't the essential part of the founding. In many ways, our founding, built on ideas that came from the Enlightenment, came from the founding fathers, was in many ways working in opposition to slavery and to racism as well. And I think those ideas come from the American people. It wasn't that slavery was the critical component to those ideas. Our ideas worked in opposition, which is why, of course, things like slavery have gone away. It took a terrible war to do so, but those things went away because of those foundational ideas.
Right, that seems to me to be just basic history. I mean, the New York Times claims that the American Revolution, when, the American colonies freed ourselves from the tyrant King George in Britain, they say that that war was fought in order for the American colonies to preserve slavery. Jared, is that or is that not historically false?
That's an absolutely wild claim that was made without any kind of evidence. It is so, I mean, frankly, it's laughably false. I mean, one of the hotbeds of the American Revolution, which was Boston, Massachusetts abolished slavery in 1783, just after the war. If they were fighting to preserve slavery, why would they immediately thereafter abolish slavery? Great Britain didn't abolish slavery for another half a century. I mean, these are the things that are just like basic facts about history that are thrown out in this thing that are just wrong and just bizarrely wrong. And maybe they're ideas that the audience won't know any better, but it really is a distortion of what the American Revolution was really about.
It is. It's revisionist history. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but many of the colonies attempted to abolish slavery, but they were overruled by the British governor of the area. And you can look at the slave trade as well. That was abolished around the time of the Revolutionary War. If the American colonies were fighting to preserve slavery, why would they have taken all these actions trying to stop slavery, trying to limit slavery, or even trying to abolish it?
I think that's absolutely right. I mean, after the war, especially the American Revolution, Americans understood that the principles of that revolution did stand against slavery. There were abolitionist societies, even in places that now we think of with slavery, like Georgia. I mean, even down south and things like this. So these abolitionist societies were created at this time. There was a huge anti-slavery movement, and many slaves did get freed during that time. To say that somehow Americans were fighting to preserve slavery is frankly a sad distortion of American history and our revolution.